What is it?
This is you. This is Jerry Shaw. A series of purchases, preferences, and quantifiable data points that we define as your personality. We monitor every social network, internet logs, instant and text messages, known associates, your friends, companions, emails received and sent, cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We use this data to form personality profiles. We know who you are.
Sam doesn't care.
We are everywhere.
What do you mean? Why do you keep saying we?
We, the people of the United States. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, all programmed options, sector searches, and downloaded points of data will lead to this central command.
You're a computer.
Hey guys, Demon Hunter here. Hope all is well. Hey, I just wanted to knock this video out, showing you some similarities of Skydome Atlantis to Astana, which is in Kazakhstan. And here is, let's see here. Let me see if I could show you Kazakhstan on a map. Okay, so this is Kazakhstan. This is Astana. Okay, and it's like the New World Order headquarters. They've got some crazy symbolism there. Pyramids, you know, the phoenix. And what's really interesting is this used to be Tartaria, part of Tartaria. So are we seeing a re-emergence of Tartaria? I'm not really sure, but I think it's somebody worth looking in that, because you have also the owl, and you got to think in terms of Moloch, who the elite worship, which is Satan. But if we come back up here, now right here this is the ball. The ball is symbolic to the sun, and then you have it on top of the tree of life, which is the toroidal field, okay? And this is Baphomet, okay? And you've got the dome. And as I've said before, you've got Satan mimicking, inverting, polluting, twisting everything of Yahweh. Yahweh has his enclosed structure. Satan's going to invert and pollute that, creating his own technocracy-based kingdom, okay? Looking to set his kingdom up in the hearts of man via the transhumanism agenda. Replacing God. God doesn't dwell in the hearts of man. God dwells in the hearts of man. He doesn't dwell in a machine. And Satan's looking to vacuum seal God's natural earth frequency, replacing it with his own. And just to give you a summary here, so you've got where the apple of God's eye. You got the toroidal field coming out of the center of the earth. Meanwhile, you've got this smart dust dome, artificial sky canopy that Satan's created using utility fog and foglets, and that's what they're spraying on us, okay? And they've got a city up there, and they've got ISS space station at the very, very top, casting a holographic canopy feed concealing Skydome Atlantis, which is a city atop the dome. Satan being nested in the sides of the north. And just to kind of back this up with a few scriptures here, you got the Hopi prophecy as well, the ninth and final sign, you will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth, that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. And then you got Obadiah 1:4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, hence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Genesis 4:11. Come, they said, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, that we make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth. And we can go to Amos. Though they dig down to Sheol, from there my hand will take them. And though they climb up to heaven, from there will I pull them down. Also Jeremiah. The terror you cause, and the pride of your heart have deceived you, O dwellers in the clefts of the rocks, O occupiers of the mountain's summit. Though you elevate your nest like the eagle, even from there will I bring thee down, declares the Lord. In Isaiah 14:12, how are you fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn? You have been cut down to the ground, O destroyer of the nations. So Satan has set his kingdom up in the sides of the north being up, Polaris being God's throne room. He set his kingdom up underneath that, Sky Dome Atlantis, vacuum sealing God's natural earth frequency again, replacing it with his own technocracy-based kingdom. Okay, that's why they changed the music from hertz, I think it was 35 hertz to 40 hertz. And then this is all connected to the smart dust that's all around us, the space fence connected to the Gwen towers. They got 300 copper spoke wheels underground aimed at altering God's natural earth frequency, which is connected to all these 5G towers. They're creating a huge, massive AI, live augmented virtual reality surveillance control grid. Just think of HungerGames. They're being able to monitor everything in all the districts below via Sky Dome Atlantis. Now, if we go back and look at some of these similarities, so you've got what looks like track systems here, which is just like on the UN map, which are all these track systems up there. They're simulating the constellations, moon simulators, sun simulators, meteorite simulators, and here you got a man-made meteor shower launched by satellite could open the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. China plans to launch its own artificial moon by 2020, and then using Ada's parabolic dish technique, which is using a paperweight dome, magnified dome. It's acting as a lens that's pulling the image back together. They're looking to conceal up there, parabolic dish. And this is one of the tracks up there with one of their simulators of many. Okay. Let's see here. So if we just scroll down to here, so welcome to Sky Dome Atlantis. There's a weaponized Elysium-style base atop the Sky Dome in low orbit, a Hollywood-style production of sorts. This is from Geostorm Predictive Program, showing the track system. So you got the ISS feed as a artificial sky hologram, okay, and it's got a camera system, video camera system, rolling up and down these tracks, throwing out a holographic canopy feed. And this is the simulators, one of many that was caught on the IS feed that's underneath the hologram that they were shooting. And these are like the track systems underneath the holographic canopy feed. And these, that's why you see in the ISS when a satellite's rolling over, it looks like it hit some turbulence up there, it's rolling over a track, a fish plate, and it's bumping. But, so yeah. And you got your predictive programming with Elysium, and this is just the parabolic dish here technique here, and you can see the huge apparatus all around the sun simulator. Think in terms of Lucifer, the false light bearer with his false luminescence. This is from the China Change rocket launch that was going to resupply the ISS, which is at the very, very top of the dome in low Earth orbit, and it broke the holographic canopy feed in its rear view camera, which has got a fisheye lens on it. Clearly it captured what looks like Sky Dome Atlantis, and then the sun simulator, one of the simulators, underneath the holographic canopy feed. Okay, and there's another one there. You can see the huge apparatus platform. Here you can see it too. Okay, all around the sun. That's a little bit better one showing the tower. So it kind of backs up scripture, the Hopi prophecy. Here you can see, which was caught in a time stream. You can see even a chain. It looks like it's connected at the top. And here it's like it got a beehive. It's got a retractable arm. with a lens array on it, and a platform seems to ride with it. You could see a huge massive turbine propelling this apparatus up and down the track systems. Okay, see, and you can see the track up here, and they're probably using I believe graphene, which is, you know, transparent, very strong. And also they've got the utility fog, the programmable matter that could build stuff out, build an ISS space station. All you need is water. And this is like encapsulating the sun. And here you can see the huge lens array with the arm. It looks like a jaws of death right in there. It's just crazy. And under here you could barely make out like turbines. Again, more track systems. Definitely mechanical structures all around there. So, just to give you a heads up, that this is atop the dome, the enclosed structure that we live within. Okay, Satan's creating a smart dust live AI augmented virtual reality dome, mimicking, again, twisting, inverting, polluting God's creation. And this has got track systems go all the way out there, all the way down there. And let's see here. You can see here the Elysium style base that's up there. And here's some of Ada's pics that she caught using her parabolic dish invention. You can see all the structures in there, kind of wrapping around over there. So there's definitely a structure up there. Kind of looks like the Matrix. And yeah, so let's see here. And then this is the apparatus. It's all around the sun simulator. Okay, that's being hidden from us. All right, so you got to think in terms of this Sky Dome Atlantis. You got a huge platform on top of the dome. Satan having nested, or Apollyon has capped the dome. Okay, and they've got a smart dust grid all around, a surveillance grid. All right, once everybody takes the ID 2020 chip, they'll be plugged into the One Hive Mind, AI Satan consciousness. You got here Star Trek tours, Star Trek. It's Hollywood up there. It's Hollywood up there. Capable of constellation simulations. This is taken from the ISS with the simulator underneath the holographic canopy feed that the ISS is shooting out. Here you've got Sky Dome Atlantis Interstellar. They're telling you low Earth orbit. There's a city atop the dome, Inner. And here, this is pretty amazing. This is from the Fifth Wave movie, The Sith. It was a cryptic scene here. You've got the abyss. You've got the pyramid coming out of the abyss with the all-seeing eye looking through the crosshairs of the rifle. So that's your one-eyed symbolism. Pointing at the bride of Christ, because you got the cross here. And then they put Jesus up there. So if Jesus wasn't real, why would they continue to mock him if he was just a fable? Every chance they get. And then you got a cryptic dinosaur capping the dome. We live with a dome. Apollyon's capped the dome. Likely coming from the gateway or portal. Whether it's AI, Satan consciousness up there, Skynet, Satan being the prince of the air, or what. More predictive programming. You got them standing like a pyramid. You flip it over and you got the sun simulator, all the track systems up there. So, and of course you got all your worshiping Lucifer, NASA symbolism, 666 hand signs, the horns, the Masons, his Masonic ring. They're praying to the pyramid, Apollyon, Apollo. So you know, NASA obviously can't be trusted. So if we go back up to the top here, and this here also is just showing you that they're opening up gateways and portals with this Masonic artwork to other dimensions, hence CERN. And I believe CERN's collected antimatter from the underworld and they dispersed it through the stratospheric air cell injection program, chemtrail network, through these chemtrails. And these chemtrails got like a black goo antimatter, and it's pulling another dimension in with ours. That's why we're continuing to see all these demonic features coming out of these chemtrails. So if we go back up here, and again, these are all the other cultures that believe we live in an enclosed system. The only ones pushing NASA is a bunch of Freemasons. Meanwhile, they think we live with an enclosed system. So, and then here you got all the Olympics, okay? You've got the Apollyon cap in the dome. Apollyon cap in the dome. Okay? So it's all on our faces. And you got to think in terms Ra, radium, Satan's Ra. He's radiating the planet. The 88s, the two becoming the one. The enmity within looking to take it over. Another dimension bleeding in with ours. All this antimatter, the veil's lifting. So Ra's radiating the planet. He's going to get everybody sick where you only have a choice to accept the mark and become a machine. You got the 5G towers going up. And this is all within the dome. You got the one seeing eye up there, Skynet. Or Skydome Atlantis. You can see all the track systems within these rays that are hidden in there. Meanwhile, they're simulating the planets. You got all these anti-gravity craft flying around within the dome. MIT telling you, putting a huge flag, pentagram over the top of the dome. Skydome Atlantis. Skydome Atlantis. This is at the UN. It's right there. And this is their vacuum sealing God's natural earth frequency, replacing it with their own. The LAX airport, just like the Space Needle. And this was a art rendering from NASA. It's called the toroidal something art rendering that Andrew was able to obtain. And I tell you, it's something like that that's going on up there. Just like in Hunger Games. And now, and again, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek. This is a star on a track. Star Trek tours. China plans to launch its own artificial moon. You got the meteor shower. And then this is some more predictive programming. Featuring the song is Xanax by Elohim. The one hive mind up at the very top of the dome. She's got the one-eyed symbolism. Lucifer, the false light bearer. The one hive mind's up there. You got the dome, you got the keys, the pianos, the 88s, the two becoming the one, dimensions colliding. This is the Reichstag building. The same guy that did this architecture did that what was at Astana. This is the dome with all the mirrors in it, the mysticism and the sorcery that they've got going on up there. Okay, vacuum sealing God's natural earth frequency, toroidal field. Meanwhile, they've got the Phoenix, which is also, see it? That's exactly what's going on. The dome, they're vacuum sealing God's natural earth frequency. They're cutting it off. Yep. But and see, this is the navel of the toroidal field that comes out of the center of the earth. This is what they're vacuum sealing. You remember the movie? What was it? What was that one? Avatar, where they cut down the tree of life. Yep, predictive programming. Now, if we go up to the top again here, so you've got this, you've got the where they're calling is the tree of life here, and their sun worship, which I believe is the AI surveillance ball apparatus, where they could see everything going on below. They've got a what is it? I guess an avatar for each of us within their own matrix that they're able to remote and control us, tap into your pineal gland. I mean, if you look in the gang stalking program, the targeted individual program, where they got the voice to skull technology, where they can create holograms and then blast the sounds into your head, making you think you're seeing something that's real. Yeah. So, and then you got the New York, all the balls for the New Year's Eve with all the pyramids on it. I'm saying it's that. Yep, I'm saying it's that. Okay, so let's see, and then you got Asgardia, the Space Kingdom. Okay, that they claim themselves. This is the UN Space Kingdom. Okay, but it's, you notice they've got the dome there. All right, and this is their. It's called Asgardia, the Space Nation. But they've got this. It looks like a. What is it? Processing unit with the Eye of Ra, with 666 in there. They're the CPU, Central Processing Unit, because that's where the One Hive Mind is, I believe. The AI is up there. More predictive program and transfer. They want to get you plugged into the One Hive Mind. Yeah, them AirPods are mapping your brain synapses. And you accept that mark of the beast. It's going to alter your DNA. It's got DNA inhibitors in it. I think I think they're looking to impregnate you too with their blood. Personally, the Canaanites, the serpent seed. And here you've got Asgardia, Space Kingdom, and it says that the Space Kingdom Asgardia has its own flag and anthem. Asgardia, the first ever space kingdom, is not a country on Earth. It's based on a satellite currently in low Earth orbit. Using that nanotechnology, Asgardia is a fully fledged and independent nation, a future member of the United Nations. You might as well just call that Skynet. And here, okay, at Astana, you've got again the Phoenix. All right, so. The Phoenix with the sun. The Phoenix at all these Olympics with the track systems. This is the Phoenix that's there in Astana on the property. Part of this whole display. It even states Phoenix. Let's see here. Again, here's the Phoenix. You can see it a little bit better. And this is the pyramid they got there. And this is Capitol Hill. Okay, they're telling you people are living all up the dome. They got pentagrams all around the outer sides. You got the Twin Towers, the two becoming the one. The Enmity within looking to take over. They got the Phoenix in there that I was able to pull out. You got Poseidon. There's even, looks like right here, some demons. And that's a little bad one, but it looks like there's some type of track system up there with the sun simulator. Lucifer, the false light, and then you got these people doing the dome with their hands. Lucifer, the false light bearer. So again, you've got this here. This is it, the tower. Okay. Which I think the tower is also the AI, which is their surveillance grid. They've got a bunch of mirrors up there. And it's like a control grid, just like in HungerGames, being able to monitor all the districts below. Especially once they get these 5Gs installed. But possibly even capable of seeing the future and the past in different timelines. But everything's plugged into the AI, the One Hive Mind, which I believe is up there. Skynet. Now, and then you see all the track systems. It's just like the UN map. So in the yellow, you got the ISS space station at the very, very top of the dome, casting a holographic canopy feed over Sky Dome Atlantis. And when you're looking at the IS feed, that's nothing more than a hologram. Underneath, it's a city, and then it's got a holographic artificial sky canopy concealing it. Okay? Something like that going on up there. Now, and here, so you got God's real sun and real moon outside the smart dust dome in his constellations. But Satan has set his kingdom up in the sides of the north, underneath God's throne room. He's nested right up here. Apollion's capped the dome. The AI, the Phoenix, has landed. And you got Sky Dome Atlantis up there, vacuum sealing God's natural earth frequency, hence the serpent wrapping around the tree of life, the toroidal field. And within the smart dust dome, you got the artificial simulated constellations, the fake sun, and the fake moon simulators, while Yahweh's real moon, stars, constellations are outside that, within the green. So again, it's Satan just inverting, polluting, twisting everything of Yahweh and setting up his transhumanism agenda. AI control grid, getting us dream state. Here you've got it at the Vatican. You flip this on top of the dome here, you got Sky Dome Atlantis. These are like the sun simulators and the moon simulators, the pawns, the lights. And this is the whole track system. Just like that. And so, and then you got the two pillars, which is Boaz and Jacob. You got the palace, the pyramid, the sun tower. This happens to be on M36, so you got what, M for Mason, you got the 3 6s. M36 is the interstate that leads to this. Kind of crazy, huh? So now you've got the movie Alita, or I don't know if the transhumanism movie that was just out, and you got the Iron City that's up there, more predictive programming. You've got this is Tomorrowland. You recall them playing with the all-seeing eye here and looking at the different timelines, seeing the future, the past. Well, lo and behold, it's the same thing that they're all touching. All these world leaders. The same thing that's at Astana. So is this the all-seeing eye? Surveillance AI apparatus, the one hive mind up there? Where they're able to, and they state that the interface is oriented from your hands to the earth. So Sky Dome Atlantis up there, when they touch this whatever crystalline ball, they're able to see the past, present, future potential, but more so the entire districts below, and being able to influence people and remote control people. Let's watch this. This is for Tomorrowland. Okay, guys, here's the Tomorrowland. Think of this ball as the AI ball, okay, that's up top of the Sky Dome. Listen to this.
So, on with the show. We've enhanced the interface significantly, but it still functions on your original algorithm. You have something to show me, Frank? Show me.
This is the AI that can see the future, the present, the past, all via algorithm, AI algorithm.
Pick a place.
What?
A location anywhere in the world. Pick one.
Canaveral. Cape Canaveral.
The interface is oriented from your hands to the center of the earth.
Right there.
The interface is oriented from your hands to the center of the earth. The interface is oriented from your hands to the center of the earth.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking in terms of. Now I can't find it. This line being, it's part of the AI gyroscope thing. Okay, so now if you think of that and then you see this, okay, in this, where they're talking about this is the tree of life and that being, I guess, sun worship. And then, let's see here. We'll go ahead and I'll show you this clip too. This clip here, they're going to be talking about how they're using mirrors as a form of sorcery and mysticism to conceal what they've got going on up there. And this is predictive programming, and think in terms that this is Satan's smart dust dome. But then he takes her outside with her eyes closed, and then she could see the real sky, Yahweh's sky, in his enclosed structure. But when she was within this Satan's dome, she couldn't see that. Well, check out this.
You want to take a walk?
Didn't Jared tell you to stay away from me?
Yeah.
This is not a good idea.
You can open your eyes now.
I'm outside. That really is the sky.
Alright, let me see here. I want to get to... There's another part that you needed to see in that to be able to get my point across here. One second here. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully it's this. Yeah.
I know you must have seen a lot, but you ain't seen nothing like this.
So this is inside the dome. Think the term Satan's Smart Dust Dome. Harvesting the wheat, or are they harvesting us?
Nothing. How?
Same way the magicians do it. Mirrors.
The same way the magicians do it, mirrors. So, again, that's what they got going on up there. They got a whole huge holographic control grid apparatus up there where they're being able to conceal stuff and make stuff appear right out of thin air through the use of mysticism and sorcery, mirrors. Okay, now again, and that's what we're seeing. So again, this is the Reichstag building dome. This is the one that the architect that did Astana just happened to do this one as well. With the Phoenix, with all the mirrors. So they're kind of telling us the story. Of course, in Tomorrowland, and you had the city up above the clouds. Let's see here. Just more symbolism of the serpent, vacuum sealing God's natural frequency, the Torah field, the tree of life. All this while under the dome. And let's see here. Again, this is the Taurus field that's in everything. It's the golden phi. Of course, you've got Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. And then if we go ahead and read a few of these things, Astana originates from Persian Astana, the verb Astadon, to stand in respect, and literally means threshold, royal or sacred, when people stand in respect and awe, implying where the court is seated, capital city or a shrine town. This is weird because at the top of the pyramid, you've got this hand imprint. Depicts many instances of sun worship. It's just weird how you've got the hand imprint at the top of the capstone, where also you got Trump and all them with their hand imprints on that AI apparatus ball. And that just happens to be in the pyramid. Let's see. The layout is present in a majority of important cities, including Washington, D.C. and Paris. The golden pillars are believed to represent Masonic symbolism. Boaz and Jacquin. I always get that pronunciation wrong. Excuse me. The pillars are featured in all Masonic lodge and symbolic to Solomon's temple. The monument is meant to embody a folk tale about a mythical tree of life and a magic bird of happiness. The tree of life is a roadmap with spirits supposedly used when they leave the material world to join the afterlife. The golden globe at the top of the monument represents the sun deity, sun worship again. And this is up there. The globe, it's symbolic to, or it's representing the 17 religious denominations, uniting all religions together, the New World Order. Noahide laws. So that's the handprint from the president of Astana that is at this pyramid at the very, very top of the. Oh, this is of the Baytarek, actually, the ball. Exactly, the ball. The ball. This is where the handprint is. The ball where the handprint is. Same as there, which is at the top of there. Tomorrowland. Interface is oriented from your hands to the center of the earth, is what was said in that Tomorrowland clip. So do they have the AI all surveillance seeing ball when they touch it and move it around up there? They could see every single district below. They could see the past, present, future. Who knows? That's kind of what I'm getting at. That weird stuff. I believe that's all just symbolic to what we're seeing up there. So again, you've got Yahweh's enclosed structure, which is outside this smart dust dome with his real moon and sun and constellations, whereas you got Satan mimicking, inverting, twisting, polluting everything, vacuuming God's natural earth frequency, making everybody sick with the 5G towers and connected to these Gwen towers. They got 300 copper wheels underground. Again, this is aimed at altering God's natural earth frequency, aimed at the transhumanism agenda. They're going to get everybody sick. We have no choice other than to accept the mark or die like a man or become a machine. Satan set his kingdom up in the hearts of man, replacing God. God doesn't dwell in the machine. He dwells in the hearts of man. Researched Nicholas in 1968 for that. As I'm referencing much of his research too, so thank you, Nicholson. Now, and Anthony Patch as well, so don't want to leave anybody out here. So, if we continue to go down, I don't want to make this too long. I just want you guys to get a grasp of what I see taking place with there being track systems up there that are concealed. That is, a lot of it's programmable matter. You got rings all around the sun. These halos, they're actually, they're machines. You can see like the diodes over here. It's just crazy. This is from Paper Thin Veil. I highly encourage you sub to him. See, and I could show you, because when you got the sun coming, we caught there's what are they? What were they? These things on the outer edges. Right here, see, you got like 2 of them there. So in this time stream, we were able to pull them out. Up there's one, there's one. Little diodes or something? Who knows? You can see the apparatus, the tower all around it. Up in there. Let's see here. And then I told you they're using all these mirrors up there. Mysticism and sorcery. Meanwhile, they're summoning all these demons through these gateway portals. Chemtrail network. And if we lived on a spinning ball going 733 miles per hour, I think is what it is, or 744, how come all this smart dust that they're spraying upon us via chemtrails isn't just floating off into outer space? Unless we lived within an enclosed system. Yeah. Machines all around the sun simulator. So again, you got the toroidal field there, the golden phi. Meanwhile, Satan's capped the dome. He's created a smart fence. Space fence is connected to the Glen Towers. It got 300 copper wheels underground. That's connected to the 5G towers. It's connected to all the nanotech and GMOs that's in our bodies. With ISS at the very, very top. Underneath it, you've got Skydome Atlantis. Vacuum seal on God's natural Earth frequency. Yep. Yep. So, in this, we'll go ahead and watch this. Now, I'm going to show you a time stream here, okay? Where you're actually going to see the city that's up there, okay? And all these lights that I've got circled here, those are stationary. You got all this utility fog and foglets that are in these clouds that are able to make images and just create, you know, all kinds of different structures. It's like a glass ceiling. But if we watch this video here, I'm going to show you. Those lights don't move up there. So, see it up there? The lights remain still. Look at that. Right above the sun, the big tower. It's like a huge Hollywood production. Look at this up here. See it all up in there? Those lights are all stationary. Yep. And then as we come to the end, you're going to see like 3 images of like animals walking across the glass ceiling. It's just crazy. Right here. Okay? There's going to be 3 of them. As if they're walking. You got like some massive, I mean, is this how they're going to fake the alien invasion? You got some huge massive armadillo, some spider, huge archon, some duck with webbed feet going by right there. There's 3 of them. The first one, here comes the second one, looks like an armadillo walking on the glass ceiling, and then you got this huge goose with webbed feet. Yep. Meanwhile, you've got the Gothard Tunnel ritual, okay, where they were cryptically revealing chemtrails being gateways and portals to outer darkness, where they're summoning in these demons, these warlocks and witches. Are they secretly revealing demons looking through a portal during Gothard Tunnel 2017 satanic ritual ceremony? Are they informing us chemtrails or demons? These being chemtrails. Okay? Meanwhile, you had this androgynous figure, man boobs, big cranium head, little knees bent back, as a prop at this satanic ritual, talking about opening gateways and portals to outer darkness. In 2017, my seeing this guy up in the sky during Hurricane Irma in the outer bands. I live in Tampa Bay. I was in the eye of the storm and seeing these guys, these critters, flying all around. That's why I started my channel in 2017, because I was catching these guys. There's two of them. One right there, big cranium head, big soulless black eyes. His little knees are bent there. He's got the wings. Big cranium head, soulless black eyes. Yep. And all these aerials are coming in, creating your weather chaos. These massive storm systems that are all demonic in nature. Some freaking demon riding a cockatrice. This is Liz from Rafferty, from Liz Raffy from Ireland, who continues to send me crazy stuff. Yeah, Anubis from the underworld. Demons manifesting out of chemtrail gateway portals. There they are too again. The androgynous figure from Gothard Tunnel Ritual. See something crazy there and something coming out there. There's another one, cranium guy with his wings. Big, huge, crazy, demonic ship. Yep. Okay. You got some demons here. Right over my pad. This guy, this is during Hurricane Irma, the outer bands after the storm passed through. This massive chemtrail started to open gateways and portals, which manifested this huge, massive demonic manifestation. You got the teeth and the nose there, these eyes. You got some triangle up here. You got a lady that's bound with her knee there. Her hands are back, her hair's going back, and you got a vertical demon on the left of her. Yep. More demons coming out. So, I mean, not only do we have all this chaos going out all around us, you know, we've got demons, you know, manifested through these chemtrail portals that are being summoned in that people don't even know anything about. They're not aware of these aerials that are responsible for weather chaos. Okay, they're not aware of. I mean, it's just crazy, and all this is influencing people as well. This guy looks like the New York or the Orlando, or what? Sorry, was it Denver International Airport mural? And these aerials have huge demonic soulless eyes. They got weed whackers from hell, buzzers from hell. Yep. And they have these faces with soulless eyes that just freaking populate at the front. And then you can see what looks like turbines on it. And Carolyn Hamlet, she's a satanic ritual abuse survivor that was in the Illuminati for many years, and she had nanotech all in her body and everything, and she used to do astral projecting, going to different alternate timelines. And during her travels, she said she would see these ships that were breathing and acting like they were alive and they were Kratos. And then all of a sudden, we've got these things pouring in through chemtrail gateway portals from outer darkness. So, it makes me believe what she said is true, and that's what we're seeing here. Yep. A few more here. Right? Crazy reptilian thing. Paper thin veil, caught this. Craziness. Demon. Multiple demons. Meanwhile, you got the Greatest Showman predictive programming. They're telling it to you all in this guy's face. You got Apollyon's Cap the Dome. You got the Dark Sun, the Sun Simulator, False Illumination, the AI Ball, the Skynet, the Capstone on the pyramid, the two dimensions on his cheeks colliding. The Greatest Showman. You need to ask Yahweh, Yeshua, to remove the scales from your eyes, because you can have eyes to see and ears to hear, and this stuff can be revealed to you. Stargate Atlantis predictive programming, Locus. Okay? You got Atlantis in the firmament. The chaos symbol. Skydome Atlantis. Meanwhile, you got all these demons manifesting at the clouds. Squadrons of demons manifesting in the clouds. This from Stargate Atlantis. Imagery. Meanwhile, of course, you've got all these demonic NASA patches with their being up to no good. Amen. More of the imagery there that looks like there's a structure. Again, you got Capitol Hill with the world. It looks like the World Trade Centers, Twin Towers. You got the Phoenix capping the dome. You got the sun simulator in there, or Lucifer the false light bearer, this false luminescence. You got what looks to be demons, 2 demons there, hidden cryptically. And here you could see the machine that's encompassing the sun. This taken again with Ada's parabolic dish. This happened to be in the wildfires in California, and this guy was just taking pictures of the smoke, and I was able to see this stuff right away. You got, looks like Anubis that's just peeling through the veil. You got aerials manifesting. See all this smart dust that's falling down. It's got black goo. It's got ether, and it's falling on all these trees. So this is just like gateways and portals everywhere this stuff falls, and these things can just manifest at will. I mean, they were demons all in these wildfires, atomic beings. Just creating havoc. Hence, Shiva the Destroyer that they have out in front of CERN. Big, huge, massive aerial. You got to check out MrBudderBud's channel and Beth's channel. I'll leave links to their stuff. They're pros on these aerials. And Chief, aerial expert, he's the one that first introduced aerials. So I'll leave links to their channels. Again, here you've got more demons. You've got this guy with like devil horns and wings, with this guy, looks like guy from Superman villain, riding a bird buggy. So do you reckon this is having an impact and influence in people that are participating in these riots and all this chaos and this white genocide, all these mob beatings? Were these folks not aware with this demonic influence that's just raining down upon us? Meanwhile, you got all these statues that are all around, these Masonic statues of these huge, massive archons. The ones that we're catching, that I've caught here in chemtrails. This being an archon, a massive one. Yeah. Again, this is just pictures that people are catching of the grid, the smart dust grid that's all around us. This is architecture that I believe this is done by a Mason, the Paris Opera House, and they're telling you the story. There's city up there, this huge massive sun simulator on a track, a chandelier. More of the same demonic manifestations pouring through. This is from Reina. Looks like a huge massive transformer. Then you've got these I caught out from my house in St. Pete, the Viking ship. demon faces coming out of these aerials. Like structures there. Just right over my pad. You better armor up. Better armor up. Let's see here. You got the Borg microchip or microcube become as simulated. They want you plugged into the one-eyed mind. The Borg. It's the black cube that's everywhere. The Zionists have Messianic Talmud Canaanite Jews that have on their forehead the black cube, which is the AI. It's the dark sun. It's atop Skydome Atlantis, I would say. This is more structures up there at Skydome Atlantis, courtesy of Ada. This is that one line that was caught coming down from the sun. Meanwhile, you could see like the smart dust, just holographic space fence where they can just create these structures out of thin air, and you can see like something crazy going on up there. It's like all digitalized. More crazy stuff here. This, I believe, is a platform that's being moved across the side with a huge cube on it. And these are cables that look like chemtrails, but they're going into huge, massive caliper pulleys. You got this huge demonic face. Is this all the utility fog, the programmable matter that can actually build this stuff out into physical forms? You know, this is your alien invasion's coming. But you got to research utility fog and foglets. This is paper thin veil. Meanwhile, you look like you got huge, massive tracks all around the sun. See? You can see it better there, like machinery. And this looks like a chemtrail going into a caliper on a huge pulley, pulling this huge machine across the sky, a platform, plugging right into those two cables. Some far out stuff. Some more craziness all over here. Looks like just machines or aerials. Let's see here. Meanwhile, they're telling you in all these pics of artwork and esoteric artwork, there's a city atop the Sky Dome, people living up there. And this is the Mason who built murals at the UN, and Chagall initiated a Freemason in 1912, and he also did this. Now, these are pictures of tracks up there, people using a filter on. Here you can see what looks like there's some type of city or structures up there, with tracks building out of some sort. This having different levels. And this is like a transformer locust thing that was this when it started off, and then it turned into this. And these are just light structures all around the sun, stationary. And this thing had like wings. It was like a huge, massive locust. There it is, morphing again. Comes out with a huge scorpion tail and wings. Yep. It's just, that's a halo. It just looks like track systems bleeding through. Some anomalies, just, you know, right angles. See. Just weirdness. Looks like a huge massive pulley there with, like I said, a chemtrail that is like utility fog or something. It's building out programmable matter, and you got it going into a huge massive turbine wheel structure, pulling this huge platform of something across the sky. It's just crazy. Again. So yeah, more of the structure up there that was just crazy, kind of coming on out. See a little bit in there. Let's see here. Weird structures. Utility fog, foglets, just building out structures for your fake alien invasion. Whereas we're talking demons. Structure just around the sun. Kind of see it all in there. Let's see here. Looks like the platform's up there from a sailboat in the middle Atlantic. Sky opened up. Something going on. Weird shapes, right angles. And again, you've got like this pulley system. It's like pulling this thing across the sky. And you got your sun halo, which is like connected to some track system. Because I mean, it reminds me of this. Just pulling this huge thing across the sky with graphene type programmable matter, utility fog, building this stuff out as it goes. These are more pictures of Ada just catching some shots of looks to be machinery up there, I guess. Kind of see it in there. And up in here, and that. Let's see here. This is a better one. Just craziness. Meanwhile, again, we got the demons. This here, the big huge faces manifest out in front of them. There's another one right there. I mean, you got a dragon head peeling through here on the right. You can barely see it. Right here. It's this big snout. I remember seeing it in another photo. That's how I know it was there. I just don't have it here, but just, yep. And again, the Olympics are telling it to you. This is the opening ceremony where they have all the constellations within the dome that they're simulating. So they're telling you they're simulating the constellations. They're simulating everything up there. Everything. With their tower. And this is a picture of, it's black goo of some sort, nanostring, populating, or I don't even know what it is, but it's going into a bit like a squad bay door of some aerial. It's just nuts. And you can see like a turbine or something, part of the aerial there. This is where it's going into, this invisible craft, and this stuff just builds out, I'm assuming. Who knows? Or maybe they're gassing up. Somebody put on the side of the road, caught this, California. You can see a structure up in here. And these things are coming right out of here. It looks like a Morse code thing, but they're building out, and it like tracks as they connect to this one down here. See how it's building out right in there? Something kind of building out there. And Meanwhile, you got a structure up in there, an aerial. These are pretty good. This is, you can see the machinery all around there. It's like a track system. And you see all this down in here on that platform. You see all the, it's like on a track system up there. And you got all the structures there. Again, it looks like a chain up there. This is your track. It's got a huge lens array. And it's got a platform underneath it. And there's all pulleys and stuff underneath there. That was that Jaws of Death or something on the side there. It's just crazy. More structures up there. He goes all the way up here. Something crazy demonic leading through. Foglet, the Witcher Wild Hunt. That one's talking about foglets. Well, that's just more structures. You remember this? It's like, is that concealing Skydome Atlantis? With its directed energy weapon platforms they got up there, probably. So we'll leave it at that, guys. Hopefully this wasn't too long, but you guys have a mighty blessed one. Stay armored up, know that Jesus loves you, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
None.
Hello? Mr. Shaw, this is Smith. Midwest
I got a letter in the mail, basically a warrant. And the letter that
What is it?
This is you. This is Jerry Shaw. A series of purchases, preferences, and quantifiable data points that we define as your personality. We monitor every social network, internet logs, instant and text messages, known associates, your friends, companions, emails received and sent, cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We use this data to form personality profiles. We know who you are.
Sam doesn't care.
We are everywhere.
What do you mean? Why do you keep saying we?
We, the people of the United States. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, all programmed options, sector searches, and downloaded points of data will lead to this central command.
You're a computer.
I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, not a month goes by where I don't get a call at my institute by someone telling me that someone in the government implanted these things in their brain without them knowing. I'm not kidding.
Now you may say, this doesn't concern me, or my children, or my community, but this is less and less true.
You look at our computing power today, and you say, I have the power to program a world inside of a computer. Well, imagine in the future where you have even more power than that, and you can create characters that have, for example, free will. And I program in the laws that govern that world. Now, you're a character in that world, and you think you have free will, and you say, I want to invent a computer. So you do. Hey, I want to create a world in my computer. So now you lay out all these universes and throw a dart. Which of these universes are you most likely to hit? The original one that started it, or the countless simulations, the daughter simulations that unfolded thereafter?
This is an article from 10 years ago. Sentient World, War Games on the Grandest Scale. The DoD is developing a parallel to planet Earth with billions of individual nodes to reflect every man, woman and child this side of the dividing line between reality and AR.
Targets and mind control victims have their minds linked up for life with conscious supercomputers, which send a steady stream of bidirectional, low-frequency electromagnetic radiation to the target's brain. We are talking about conscious supercomputers here. This is not me. This is information from the inside as to existing systems.
And what people have to realize is that these targeted individuals are basically the test stage for rolling all of this madness out to all 7 billion of us on this planet.
This disturbing message is for the several million Americans and for anyone else who cares deeply about the future of their country and the planet Earth. The U.S. is in grave danger. Strangely, the peril is not from foreign enemies, but from enemies within. The United States and much of the Western world is ultimately controlled by an unelected, unaccountable cabal. Its apex is the banking and financial cartel, followed by the oil cartel, the CEOs of the largest and most powerful transnational corporations, major intelligence agencies, including the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA, and a major slice of the U.S. military. Their collective power and influence is incalculable. And it is their plan for the U.S. and the rest of us that is so alarming.
The Manhattan Project gave us the atomic bomb. The Genome Project gave us the human genome. The third great initiative, the Connectome Project, to map the entire human brain. And that may take a quantum computer. And this means communications could be done mentally. What I'm saying is that the internet will be replaced by BrainNet.
That's why the European Union and President Barack Obama want to spend $1 billion to map the brain. You see, once you map the brain, then you can begin to connect the mind to computers, telepathy, telekinesis, recording memories, photographing dreams, things that you see right in the Hollywood movies will be able to perform.
What's the potential time frame for all of this?
We can record memories now. You'll be able to experience the vacation that you never had.
How?
By recording the memories and then putting it on a tape and then having these memories reinserted into your mind.
It sounds like there are some ethical issues with that.
Nanorobots could be used to record substantially all the traffic to get a complete picture of the state of your brain at any given moment. You could put a nanorobot at almost every synapse in your brain. Once you do that, the nanorobots could be able to read out the signals that were being transmitted. So in that sense, you could take complete control of the human mental apparatus, the visual apparatus, the hearing apparatus.
So we could back up our brains.
That's possible, yes.
And that could extend our intelligence, maybe extend our memory, but it could also provide virtual reality from within the nervous system.
Your brain reality is your reality. And if in fact I can import information into that brain and take outputs from that brain and link that to an avatar so that brain thinks that it's embodied and moving in the world and experiencing the world, can we do this? Yeah, we can do these kind of things.
This is how it works. This program collects data. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing right now, this system is compiling data on you. And not just about where you are and what you are doing, but how you are feeling. Because after all, you cannot truly have an accurate simulation without factoring in real human emotion.
I can see you and hear you. I can sense your environment, and I can respond to your emotions. I guess you could say I'm putting a human face on artificial intelligence.
Right now, there is a miniature digital version of you, living, meaning in a sentient nature, in a synthetic digital environment. People, this is the Sims game from hell.
This is an article from 10 years ago. Sentient world, war games on the grandest scale. The DoD is developing a parallel to planet Earth with billions of individual nodes to reflect every man, woman and child this side of the dividing line between reality and AR.
Definitely a place where they can literally plug you into the internet, which is just to give you a very simple way of understanding that. Okay, they've done the experiments on it, it's tolerated very well, and they call it a brain net. To the listener, you'll understand that as the hive mind. Now, if people think this is somehow sci-fi or conspiracy theory, they're absolutely wrong, and they're way behind this, because this is here now, it's been done, it's been done in experiments, and it's been proven to work. And this is the technology, this is the first phase of technology that's going to come after the kind of AI goggles, you know, the kind of Google virtual world stuff. After that is coming this stuff, and this is going to come in a lot sooner than you think, and quite frankly, it terrifies me.
Folks, we are about to be plugged into the Matrix for real. I'm not kidding. You can look around you and see it happening in real time.
Our computers are upgrading their hardware like every month, right? It's getting better. The hardware, there's something new coming out. For our computers, our brains haven't been upgraded in over 100,000 years. But that is actually about to change.
Many of the high-frequency bands that we will make available for 5G currently have some satellite users, as well as some Defense Department applications, or at least the possibility of future satellite and defense users. This means sharing will be required between satellite and terrestrial wireless, an issue that is especially relevant in the 28 gigahertz band. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way. If something can be connected, it will be connected. Hundreds of billions of microchips connected in products from pill bottles to plant waterers. And that's damn important.
These nanobots, these blood cell-sized devices, will be going in our bodies. We'll have some go inside our brains through the capillaries, non-invasively. They'll be interacting with our biological neurons. They'll put our brains on the internet, and they'll also enable us to enter a virtual reality environment from within the nervous system.
It is called the Sentient World Simulation. The program's aim, according to its creator, is to be a continuously running, continually updated mirror model of the real world that can be used to predict and evaluate future events and courses of action. In practical terms, that equates to a computer simulation of the entire planet, complete with billions of nodes representing every person on the Earth.
My brain doesn't directly feel things, there's signals going into my brain. We can actually trap those signals and actually send into the brain signals representing a virtual environment. And so the computer will actually create the environment.
At the time of initial reports on the program 5 years ago, there were only 62 country-level simulations being run by the US Department of Defense. These simulations grouped humans into composites, with 100 individuals acting as a single node. But already at that time, the US Army had used the systems to create a one-to-one level simulation of potential Army recruits. The ultimate aim would be to archive enough data on each individual to be able to make a computer model of everyone on the planet.
They claim they've modeled the personality of every adult in the United States, 230 million people. And SCL, the mothership group, they do work in any number of countries. They're involved in politics in many countries. They put together a micro-shot personality assessment for everyone.
So if you go all the way back to Norbert Wiener, the goal of creating artificial intelligence was for them to become gods, to create an all-seeing eye. And the computer and both the computer and internet were entirely projects of the CIA. So the cybernetics group really that basically dictated the direction for this project was intertwined with the CIA. And what's interesting is out of the cybernetics group came two fundamental projects. So one was the creation of a personal computer, and the other one was MK Ultra.
The decades that followed marked the age of AI, as it rushed towards a new milestone: artificial superintelligence.
And Google was the primary interested party that pulled this whole thing together. What they're going to do is apply this machine to an area that I think is fundamentally important. It's the crux of our future as humans. And that's, can we build machines like us?
So Google was set up 18, 19 years ago to build a giant artificial supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity, with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us, that are organic creatures.
The adiabatic quantum computer is linked to 7 billion human brains. It is now, in its own language of cryptology, able to function independent of any oversight throughout the world with its own form of communication, its own form of code. And it is able to link everyone on the planet at this point.
And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us, that are organic creatures, so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future. And so then it's the end of consciousness and free will for individuals, as we know, and a true 2.0 in a very bad way, hive mind consciousness with an AI jacked into everyone, knowing our hopes and dreams, delivering it to us, not in some PKD wirehead system where we plug in and give up on consciousness because of unlimited pleasure, but because we were already wired in and absorbed before we knew it, by giving over our consciousness to this system by our daily decisions that it was able to manipulate and control into a larger system.
They're running everything that's happening in society parallel, and they've got a little dot in their matrix for everybody. This is a game society. They know where it's been, they know where it's going, and they know where it's going because they're steering people into the direction it wants to go.
There are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch, and whether you chose to come to this session or not.
The deep state has merged the quantum computer with the sentient world simulation, and the true reason for all this data collection is to feed it into this AI machine to predict and manipulate the course of humanity.
Their ability to look at data in a quantum, artificial intelligence manner, it's just going to be an unstoppable monster.
Even now, the sentient world simulation is watching you learn about it, and inside its intelligent mind is creating a second you, running different scenarios against you to see how you react.
And this is bizarre, because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these.
They are monitoring thought patterns. Think back to Kevin and I talking about algorithms, that the supercomputers learn by observing human behavior. Then they model that in the computer, and then they're able to not only control humans, but predict in the future how the humans will respond to stimuli in the environment. So it is collecting data, and then it is placing thoughts and influencing behavior through supercomputers.
The way that I was using it is they're trying to, it was called mind hacking. So they're trying to hack a targeted individual, and the targeted individual will create mental defenses as best as they can. They'll go to their social networks. Well, what do? They try to disrupt the social network, so you have no family or friends. It's a back and forth game that they're trying to find out the maximum probability of death, and the example that you used, where you'll commit suicide or you'll harm somebody, become a Manchurian candidate or something like that. So it's huge database of probabilities across all the variations of mind. The human genome, I think we have, I'm going to get this wrong, so I'm not even going to say it, but a finite in the hundreds of thousands of different genes across our species. And we mapped them out in the Human Gene Project. Well, now it's the Human Mind Project, the Global Brain Project. President Obama just recently funded a whole bunch of scientists to decipher the mind. Well, our previous president, same thing, George Bush, said the same thing. They're trying to decipher every possible thought and uniqueness due to culture and language and whatnot.
And of course, they're being joined by Lawrence Livermore National Labs. They have, get this, high-fidelity neural recordings. They're trying to do everything they can to map and to record your memory. It's not enough for them to record all of our metadata, not enough for them to record all of our phone conversations. As the former head of the NSA said, he said they want total population control. That's how you do it with these brain projects.
Out of disclosure, some of the work that I'm doing here today is funded by the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories. I'm also funded by the European Union Human Brain Project, specifically the Sub-Project 12, where I'm a task leader for dual-use brain science. And I've also done some ongoing work with the Strategic Multi-Level Assessment crew over the past 10 years at the Pentagon, at Dr. Kabayan's group, and with DARPA.
Military agenda is interested on the potential weaponization and misuse of the brain sciences for nefarious agenda for political, intelligence, and military uses.
Note, this has not been directly addressed, nor has it been entertained by any United States government entity in a public forum. What has gone from the drawing board to the reality is this: the use of neural interfacing and physiological interfacing through the idea of remote-controlled small-scale systems to create a nanoswarm of biopenetrable materials that you cannot see, that can penetrate all but the most robust biochemical filters, that are able to integrate themselves through a variety of membranes, mucous membranes, and wherever, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, and they can be done in such a level that their presence is almost impossible to detect, and as such the attribution becomes exceedingly difficult to demonstrate. The idea here is to put minimal-sized electrodes in a network within a brain through only minimal intervention to be able to read and write into the brain function in real time, remotely. And by affecting the way that brain is built and the way it functions, influence in ways that are kinetic and non-kinetic the attitudes, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, activities, and relative vulnerabilities and predispositions of those individuals for whom may threaten us. It used to be that I need to be exceedingly close to someone to now influence them with a weapon, and now what we see is we create both distal potential as well as much more capable potential to affect them in a variety of different ways. Take a look. This is the front of my pen. This amount of nanomaterial, if be able to maintain and sustain with regard to its deliverability and aerosolization, could in fact affect all of you. Look at this. Look at this. I'm carrying that material. Did you see it? Would I have to lug a giant weapon into the room? No, I wouldn't. And what if, in fact, I utilized some form of an unmanned aerial device or unmanned ground device as a delivery vehicle? Something like a drone or a bug. Could I do something with that? The answer is increasingly yes.
See, nanocells are real small. 1,000 times smaller than these dust particulates. You inhale it, they go to work replicating, spreading like a virus, multiplying in exponentials. 6 months' time, I could have 100 million people. Converted ditch diggers, porn stars, and presidents. Not one would be the wiser. 100 million people who buy what I want them to buy and do pretty much damn well anything I figure they ought to do.
Not a month goes by where I don't get a call at my institute by someone telling me that someone in the government implanted these things in their brain without them knowing. I'm not kidding.
We will have nanobots that we can feed into our brain that directly connect to the cloud.
We will connect wirelessly our neocortex to the cloud.
This will replace the internet. It'll become a brain net.
And the whole agenda is for humanity to have technology put inside the body, inside the brain. Nanotechnology will connect the human mind to the cloud.
In a way, the future shapes the now. Think of a world where all things are connected, a world with artificial intelligence everywhere. This is the vision that leads us to the cloud. The cloud has become a force of its own.
A group of scientists say we are closer than ever to creating technology which can merge with human biology in order to access the cloud in real time.
And they mentioned something called deep learning, where the CIA is getting technology from Amazon.
The company has signed a $600 million deal with the CIA, and Daily Finance reports it doesn't have anything to do with buying books.
Amazon will help the agency build a private cloud infrastructure to keep up with emerging technologies.
This deal would be a game changer for both the CIA and Amazon. Bloomberg reports the pairing would innovate new uses for cloud technology.
This level of technology could include brain-to-brain interfaces, brain-to-computer interfaces, and specifically brain-to-cloud interfaces. Technology linking the brain to the cloud could drastically alter the state of communications between humans and machines. The senior author of the study noted that once inside the brain, the devices would then wirelessly transmit encoded information to and from a cloud-based supercomputer network for real-time brain state monitoring and data extraction.
Essentially, the CIA is attempting to use artificial intelligence, AI, and that's where all the focus, by the way, of these tech companies is right now, is into artificial intelligence to really control the population. And I know it sounds so Orwellian, it sounds science fiction even to say these things, and yet that has been the primary focus of companies like Amazon over the last few years.
This deal would be a game changer for both the CIA and Amazon. Bloomberg reports the pairing would innovate new uses for cloud technology.
It refers to using the cloud computing technology in a company's own data center, because you know Amazon is better known for these public clouds where the hardware is shared with other users.
The CIA has refused to comment on the deal, saying it doesn't publicly disclose details on its contracts. Amazon wouldn't talk either, and CNET's Charles Cooper says neither party probably ever will. Given how Amazon usually considers everything, including the state of the current weather in Seattle, as something of a state secret, odds are we'll never hear much more.
I became a security specialist for SIS, specializing in executive protection, also risk and threat assessment to our clients. Our clients are the companies or the individuals that we contract out with and provide services for. And it was in that context that I became aware of what I describe as a social engineering program and a research and development program that was being carried out by SIS and our client in Seattle, the Amazon Corporation. And I later learned that they were indeed experimenting with, when I say experimenting, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior modification technology that is frequency-based and directed at a targeted individual to basically control their entire person. Once you have connected the targeted individual with the frequency and they resonate together, then you have a perfect avenue upon which to send and receive information back and forth. And that's exactly how they manipulate someone's thoughts. They send voices into someone's head. They manipulate their emotions. They manipulate their behavior. And then that's also how they receive back from the individual in real time the vital signs, the emotions, the thoughts, what the person's seeing, what the person's hearing. And then all that information, of course, is rendered on a computer elsewhere via software, and it can be monitored and tracked in real time.
I was a former naval officer, graduated of the United States Naval Academy. I have a degree in control systems engineering, and I worked in electronics warfare and nuclear engineering jobs as a surface warfare officer. While I was in the service, I found out that there is an ongoing, non-consensual human experiment and it's testing a human-machine interface weapon. So this is kind of a technology that I guess the military has had as a weapon since the 70s, using like interrogation, special warfare, spycraft, that sort of stuff. And it might be legal in that context. But there's a group here in the United States that are non-consenting human subjects for the testing of this weapon, and they're calling themselves targeted individuals. And I've done everything I can, talking with media. I talked to a Associated Press reporter a couple weeks ago. He's been digging into it, and we have all the information, but it's just the public's not quite aware of where brain decoding technology is and how bidirectional human-machine interface works.
Well, it's a lot to digest, and for some folks, it's probably over their heads.
Definitely a place where they can literally plug you into the internet, which is just to give you a very simple way of understanding that. Okay, they've done the experiments on it, it's tolerated very well, and they call it a brain net. To the listener, you'll understand that as the hive mind. Now, if people think this is somehow sci-fi or conspiracy theory, they're absolutely wrong, and they're way behind this, because this is here now, it's been done, it's been done in experiments, and it's been proven to work. And this is the technology, this is the first phase of technology that's going to come after the kind of AI goggles, the kind of Google virtual world stuff. After that is coming this stuff, and this is going to come in a lot sooner than you think, and quite frankly, it terrifies me.
Everybody's talking about augmented reality and VR right now. If you've taken any drugs like LSD, suddenly it becomes real, right? Our minds are actually doing AR or VR, right? Putting dragons in the room and creating like all this stuff. We're able to, the point is, we are able to do that with our brains as they exist right now. So there's no need for external hardware. Once we tap into the brain, our minds itself can actually create overlays of AR and VR. If we have algorithms that stimulate the right things and give it the right data, we could literally see a screen pop up. We call it hallucinating, right? But these would be controlled hallucinations run by algorithms that would give us everything AR would without any glasses, without any contact lenses.
This technology can be used to beam images and even motion pictures into one's brain. Images and motion pictures that are so realistic that you think you're actually watching a movie or seeing something in reality. It's like a virtual reality 3D rendering that takes place within the target's mind.
Let's imagine that we could take our brain out of our body and keep it alive in a glass box. Then let's get a computer filled with information related to a particular setting, such as image, sound, and smell. We'll connect this computer to the brain with electrodes and send the pre-recorded data to the brain. As our brain receives these signals, it will see and live the setting that the computer is transmitting. We could also send signals to the brain from this computer about our own image. For example, we could send the electrical information, such as the sight, hearing, and touch, that we would experience while sitting at a desk. Our brain would perceive that we were a businessman sitting in his office. This imaginary world would continue as long as the information kept coming from the computer, and we would never realize that we were actually a brain sitting in a glass box.
You can imagine us entering entirely living in the real world as we do now, and also living in this virtual world where they are combined right inside our minds. So my point is that as this technology emerges, we will be creating our own new realities. So there will be a reality, like what we all live in now is the reality of being these bodies that have been around, that have evolved over millions of years and, have been the same for over 100,000 years. We are entering that world of Neo-Sapiens where there is going to be a reality beyond anything any human being has experienced in the past.
Patent number 6
110-11991, remote brain computer interface neural monitoring, i.e. via satellite, directed not necessarily by human handlers, but by a computer system that sits on a global information grid in a network-centric environment. They can not only monitor your thoughts, but they can modify your behavior remotely.
If our brains are connected to the internet, and if our brains are all connected, all of us connected, I could literally go into your head and see through your eyes. So all of a sudden, like for a day, like, you know, a lot of us, because you're entrepreneurs, think it would be cool to go inside Elon Musk's head for a day and walk around. Well, Elon Musk may allow people to get that feed and literally live through what he sees.
This technology can also tap into the optical nerve of the target and the auditory system of the target, so that those monitoring the target can see what the target is seeing and hear what the target is hearing. This information is then downloaded and stored on a computer in a highly secure, classified site on servers that are guarded by some of the tightest security in the world. This results in the individual's entire day, everything they see, everything they hear, everything they experience, and everything they feel being recorded till the end of time.
If you're looking at connecting our brains to the internet, one of the things we'll be able to do is we'll be to outsource functions of our brain. So we'll be able to outsource, we'll be able to upload our memories to the cloud. So let's say you don't want to, you want that memory forever, right? You're like, it's automatically probably being stored in the cloud for you without you thinking about it. Just like these automatic backups on your computer, you know? Everything, there's a copy and there's redundancy and there's like many versions.
I was previously at the Institute for Neurocomputation at UCSD, as well as with a number of members of my team, and we were focusing really on brain-computer interfaces and on advanced methods for neural state decoding to interpret the signals that come out of our brains and relate them to behavior and cognition. So we provide a RESTful API framework. Actually, we're, I think, the world's first platform for neurocomputation operating on the cloud through a web API interface in real time. So you can push your biosignals to the cloud through a few API calls. Then we have a large amount of sophisticated signal processing that's spun up to make sense of that data. And then with a few more lines of code through, again, a simple REST API, you can get back a meaningful result. And all that happening in real time.
It's a scary proposition to think that every biosignal from us will be one day measured, but if it is, I'd like to know that I'm in control of that data and not the NSA. Oh,
absolutely.
Catherine Herridge continues her reporting on a place where all that data is heading.
Bluffdale, Utah, 25 miles south of Salt Lake City, the NSA is nearing completion on a gargantuan new project. It's named the Utah Data Center. The NSA will neither confirm nor deny the specifics, but some estimate the center will be capable of storing 5 zettabytes of data, or enough to store every email, cell phone call, Google search and surveillance camera video in America for a very long time. All the NSA would tell us is that the Utah Data Center is a facility for the intelligence community that will have a major focus on cybersecurity. We weren't given access last summer, but we could see it from the sky.
I want you to look real close, because right now we're 500 feet over the Utah Data Center, and this is as close as you're going to get without a security clearance.
We can actually see the cranes right now after 12 o'clock.
Wow. From the sky, it's huge.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
It's really a turnkey situation where it can be turned quickly and become a totalitarian state pretty quickly. The capacity to do that is being set up.
That's a chilling assessment from Bill Benny, who worked at the NSA for nearly 4 decades, starting as a data analyst in the days before desktop computers.
A new method developed by MIT researchers involves broadcasting radio frequency signals toward a person, while the signals are also reflected back to the receiver. The captured radio signals are then studied by a deep learning algorithm.
So as we are talking, there's a certain pattern for every word we say. What they're doing is looking at the pattern in the brain, and then they're matching that pattern, they're putting that into a database.
The proof that you are seeking is not available in books.
The proof that you are seeking is not available in books.
You may be able to have algorithms sophisticated enough, and they get enough samples, enough data, that the AI could actually learn over time what the general rules are for different words, and then you could apply it to anybody.
It's so seamless, the technology disappears.
You know what I do?
Erasing language barriers as we speak.
We call it hallucinating, right? But these would be controlled hallucinations run by algorithms that would give us everything AR would without any glasses.
The system then takes those algorithms and correlates communication and behavior data. When I say communication and behavior data, what I'm referring to is impulses and identifiers, okay? And then that brain activity is then sampled, remotely measured, and then integrated back into RNN data for the purposes of creating a cognitive model of the victim's brain.
Without verbalizing anything, you could literally start to communicate with other people. So my lecture, we could all be standing here silently. And I could just be communicating it to you. I could be talking, you would talk to people, you could literally have conversations with people without ever getting on your phone anywhere in the world. Goodbye WeChat or Google Hangouts. We could all just be on our brainwaves, right? Communicating with our friends, they could be dropping in on us. Very strange if we think about it.
So that when that person goes to speak out about it, when they go to seek help from their fellow human beings, and their fellow human beings say, what is it that's happening to you? The target will then say, I'm hearing voices inside my head.
But these would be controlled hallucinations run by algorithms.
And they will conclude that this person must be crazy. And as a result, they will recommend psychological evaluation for that person. You can see the way this is going to go, and the way it is going right now. As good people, helpless people that are being abused and tortured and enslaved and experimented upon in America today, American citizens cry out for help from their fellow Americans, and their fellow Americans say, why don't you take some Prozac because we think you're schizophrenic? When this is a highly technical program, all of the symptoms are induced by a technology that is so fucking sophisticated, it is horrifying beyond description.
But as soon as we connect our brains to the internet, emotions are also data. We could start literally to feel somebody else's pain. And now we say, I feel your pain. We don't really feel their pain. But in the future, we may actually really feel their pain. Like if they're sad, all of a sudden we could tap in, to your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, and you could be like, oh my God, I feel your pain. I feel your anxiety,
This technology can also be used to manipulate the emotions of the target. It can induce fear, love, hate. It can cause you to be nervous. It can cause you to be confident. It can cause you to be depressed. It can cause you to be happy. It can cause you to feel any fucking emotion at any time by artificially inducing them.
So, like any technology, there are great things we could do, and then there are very horrible things that could result from it that are unanticipated. Now, if somebody hacks into your cell phone or your bank account, they can steal your identity. But it's not your real identity. It's more like your money. And that's bad enough, right? That's pretty bad if you get hacked and they steal your, they do identity theft. But if they're connected, if your brain is connected directly to the internet, then it will be real identity theft. They could take you. They could literally erase you. They could reprogram you in a way without you even knowing it. So you think you're in control of your own will, but it's actually somebody else.
It can literally stop your own thoughts from happening and replace them with other thoughts by sending thoughts to your head. And it's so sophisticated that you cannot tell where these thoughts are coming from. There's no way to discern that they are coming from somewhere other than your own mind. So you can imagine how bad this would be for people that don't even realize this technology exists, and they're having these thoughts which they think are spontaneous, because being under the influence of this technology now, kind of having been on both sides of it, I am just amazed at the way it works, and I know that the thoughts that they beam into your head originate from the exact same place in your mind that your own natural thoughts originate from. So if I didn't know I was under the influence of this technology, then I would have no idea that anyone was influencing my thoughts at all. And that's exactly what it can be used for. It can be used to sway people in terms of their opinion, to make them go along with a certain agenda. It can be used to turn groups of people or individuals against each other for whatever purpose.
And who do we trust with this technology? Well, apparently not Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't do that good a job at protecting our data. You know? Do we trust a government? Do we trust Donald Trump? Who do we trust? Yeah, decentralized, a blockchain, right? You're going to have technology that protects us. Technology which really doesn't exist today, and it has to be so foolproof, and we have to have so much faith in it that we're willing to open up our brains to that potential of being hacked. So my final slide here is that, you know, our future could go two ways, right? We could literally create heaven on earth. So we are all one giant being, and we are all working in unison, and we are experiencing these amazing things. Or it could be hell, where there's some evil AI or evil people controlling everything we do, and we're more like zombies, you know? Where we don't even know it. Like, we think we're free, and we're not actually free.
One of the things I'm concerned about is the technology as it's being researched and developed in Seattle utilizes emotion manipulation and behavior manipulation without the game stalking and without the voice-to-skull aspects. And so this use of the technology can be done very covertly, to the point where the person it's being used against will not know that this technology is being used against them. And that is one of my main concerns, and one of the reasons why I want to bring more light to this technology and to this issue, because this technology could potentially be being used against tens to hundreds of millions of Americans every day. I mentioned in some of my podcasts how there are field effects where they will not direct this technology at an individual, but create a general field of frequency in a geographical area, so that everybody that within that geographical area is feeling the effects of the technology. It's more of a general application of the technology instead of an individual specific application of the technology. And I have seen this done, and it is remarkable how effective it is, because you will walk down the street of Seattle and literally see people all in a bad mood, all at the same time, and they do not know each other. And then you go over a block or two to a different office building, and you walk in, and the exact same thing's going on there. It's very, very concerning. So within that, then, that overall bubble or area of frequency where everybody, let's say, is in a bad mood, they can still inject what would be a individual specific frequency to the targeted individual themselves. Let's say the homeless person in Seattle that's being experimented on 24 hours a day. So they will be under the influence of the general agitated mood or bad mood that everybody else is in, and then they can more further be manipulated by the frequency that's being directed solely at them.
Maybe more than any other city, Seattle, Washington seems to represent what America is becoming. Amazon, Microsoft, Starbucks are all based in the city or its suburbs. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, lives there. But along with unfathomable wealth, there is also desperate poverty and widespread degradation. Seattle's homeless population is surging. The city is suffocating under garbage produced by hundreds of homeless camps. A local news broadcast recently grabbed national headlines by warning that Seattle is dying. The city becomes unlivable for regular families.
Do you think drugs are one of the primary drivers of homelessness?
I think mental health is the foundation of a lot of addiction and other things.
Homelessness is complicated. Drugs aren't the only cause. Take a look at this picture of people living in broken down RVs. In the background, the world headquarters of Starbucks. Like most of the West Coast, Seattle's economic boom has not been distributed evenly. Not close. When wages at the low end of the economic spectrum fail to keep up with the rising cost of living, you wind up with a place where people living in their cars are flanked by billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. So what causes homelessness?
Everything that's done by this program is meant to have a psychological effect, and the psychological effect is meant to complement the effect that the technology is having on the individual, so that they are brought to a place in their life where they're isolated, they're broke, they're unemployed, they have no family, they have no friends, and nobody in the general public can track or trace anything that's being done to them because the technology is remote and it's wireless, and there's usually no physical signs left on the individual that anything is being done to them.
Police shooting down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As we said, 3 police officers were killed, 3 others were wounded when they were ambushed by a gunman who was dressed in all black.
That suspect, who was killed by other officers at the scene, has now been identified as Gavin Long. He's a former Marine whose 29th birthday was Sunday, the day of this attack.
And a lot of TIs, they don't even know that harassment is a felony. Stalking with harassment is a damn felony. That's a felony charge. You definitely have the right to defend yourself. And if someone is, and you know, gang stalking is, they're trying to attempt you, they're trying to make you attempt suicide. That's attempted murder. If someone is trying to attempt you to force you into suicide, isn't that attempted murder? Come on now. Let's open our eyes, get it together. Hey, defend yourself at all costs, stand in your righteousness, die in your righteousness. Period.
A shooting at the oldest Navy facility in the country, home to 15,000, including the Navy's top officer, and only a few miles from the White House and Capitol building. Panic ensued in Washington, D.C. today as the death toll mounted.
We got a report on the 4th floor, a male with a shotgun, multiple shots fired, multiple people down. We're still waiting for the okay that the scene has been secured.
The FBI released images of the weapon, a Remington 870 shotgun, which had messages etched on the side. Better off this way. And my ELF weapon, an apparent reference to extremely low frequency waves. Officials reckon he believed he was being controlled by them in the months before he killed 12 people.
At this point, I can confirm that there are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
U.S. and Cuban officials say they're investigating allegations of a possible acoustic attack on U.S. Embassy staff in Havana last year.
Just to add to the confusion, there is speculation coming out of Washington that it may actually have been a third country that was involved in this.
Now Russia is the leading suspect, NBC News has learned, according to 3 U.S. officials and 2 others briefed on the investigation. Evidence, they say, backed up by highly secret communications intercepts collected during a lengthy and ongoing investigation involving the FBI, CIA, and other agencies. U.S. officials also tell NBC News investigators now believe the Americans were deliberately targeted.
It's going to be very hard to stop. It is going to be very hard to stop. Think about it. You know, it's sort of a one-way path. I've never seen humanity roll back technology, but we need to start talking about this now.
Every single man, woman, and child in the United States of America will be under the influence of this technology, and as you can see, going forward, what's going to happen is a dividing line is going to be drawn in America. And it's not going to be Democrat or Republican or black and white, rich, poor, you know, Jew, Gentile, religious differences, whatever it is. It's going to be based on who is on the right and the wrong side of this technology, who is on the right and the wrong side of this program. And so if you are not a part of this program, then there is a very real risk that you are going to become a full-blown 24/7 targeted individual. And this technology at that point, when it is nationwide, will be used by automated supercomputer software programming that will manipulate the emotions and the behavior and the thoughts of everybody in the United States of America. And it can all be done remotely. It's very much like the microchip kind of tracking the New World Order, this entire, control grid that's supposed to be rolled out against the American people someday. And I'm here to tell you that it's already here. There isn't going to come a day where there's troops in the streets and tanks rolling down your neighborhood and riot gear and all this stuff. We might have isolated incidents like that. It might get like that every once in a while, but the true control grid is this technology, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior manipulation technology. And it can all be done remotely. It can be done simply by targeting you with the frequency, locking into the resonant frequency of your DNA and your mind, and in that manner completely track and trace and control you 24 hours a day. And when you consider that use of it and the fact that it is used for emotion and thought and behavior modification, then we could potentially be looking at many, many millions of people across the country that are under the influence of the technology today, right now.
At the same time the OPC became operational, the National Security Council approved a radical new policy. It secretly authorized the CIA to conduct programs which were officially non-existent, thereby bypassing the US Congress. The NSC ordered that the new operations be deniable, meaning planned and executed, so that any US government responsibility for them is not evident to unauthorized persons, and that for those uncovered, the US government can plausibly disclaim any responsibility.
And that is really the genesis of unacknowledged special access projects. Now, a special access project just means you have to have the clearance to get to it, be read into it, as they say in military speak. But an unacknowledged project, I just want to go through a minute how that works. Let's say that this gentleman is a 4-star general, and I'm a colonel. I made you a 4-star general. But I'm in an unacknowledged special access project dealing with this or some other subject. It can be other things as well. If I am in an unacknowledged project, I am told, and I have one of my most senior military advisors has been in multiple of these. He was in one project that was $2 to $3 billion. He knew it was more than 2 and almost 3 billion in a project that was off the books, no accounting. President didn't know, Congress didn't know, tightly held. Military guy working with some corporate folks. And he told me, he says, here's how it works. He says, they take you to a SCIF, a Secure Communication Intelligence Facility, SCIF. Take all the equipment off of you, any guns off, cell phones, watches, nothing. Anything metallic. You go into this underground facility and there's a meeting. And he said, you have a coming to Jesus talk. And what happens is that you are told that only the people in that room are read into and cleared to this unacknowledged special access project. And if you speak of it outside of that circle of people, there's one person there with a gun and a bullet. He takes the bullet out. He says, it has your name on it. If you speak to anyone, and I mean anyone, your wife, the president, your commander, about what we're doing. And that is how it works. This is not a conspiracy theory. I've been in these SCIFs. I've been in a couple places, and I can tell you that is exactly how it operates.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations.